and welcome to my weekly live chat. Let me know if you can see me. When I tried to, or when I got started with my live, it was really weird. It didn't show me the actual screen, it just showed me a bunch of lines going across. So if you see me, if you're here and you're joining me live, please let me know you can actually see me and you can hear me. For those of you just joining me for the first time, welcome. For those of you that join me regularly, welcome back. Let me just see if I can. Um, I see that we have people here, but I don't see any comments. I can't, for some reason. I'm hoping I don't have lots of technical difficulties this time around. Alrighty, everybody. So I am Mary from Mary's Heirloom Seeds. If you didn't already know that, today's topic is something a little different. Last week I went live. There we go. Caitlin, can you hear me and can you see me? I hope you can, because YouTube does some crazy weird things sometimes. So last week I shared with you about harvesting okra seeds. And so we talked about harvesting okra, we talked about harvesting okra seeds, and then we also talked about the shelf life and proper storage and all that. But today is a perfect timing because today I'm talking about crop rotation and what to plant in fall for in where your okra is. So I will have information. Hey, Esther's daughter, thanks for joining me. I'm going to have information for everybody, not just Texas. So we're going to talk about Florida has some awesome. Thanks, Caitlin. So Florida has a completely different growing season or what to plant and when to plant compared to, say, Texas, California, Washington, New York, Montana, all that good stuff. So I'm going to have information about all that stuff. And I've got some updates for you as well. So why did I choose okra? Number one, it's what I have growing and it's what we discussed last week. And I'm going to be pulling these plants. And it's perfect timing because we had a little storm this morning or this afternoon, actually. Hey, Esther, exactly. So we had a storm this afternoon and we got a lot of great rain. It was maybe a half an inch of rain, which is completely unexpected. But this bed isn't so bad. The bed on the other side, most of the okra is on its side. Perfect timing because I planned on pulling them out this weekend anyway. And that's why I'm talking about what to plant after okra. But I'm going to talk about crop rotation as well and why crop rotation is important. First of all, now let me get my water. It's a little warm here. First of all, okra can be susceptible to root knot nematodes. So you want to make sure that Spartacus says, happy for you getting rain, hoping you're definitely, it has been a little dry here as well. So root knot nematodes can be very frustrating. If you pull up your plant, if it's really struggling to thrive, if it's weak, if it's dying when it should be healthy, and you pull up that plant and your roots have knots on it, most likely you have root knot nematodes. Now, you can plant marigolds and then you can chop down those plants and incorporate them into your soil to help remedy root knot nematodes for the future. But you don't really want to plant crops after okra that might be susceptible to root knot nematodes. So, for example, if you're in Florida, you can plant the heat-loving stuff, whereas for those of us in areas that get cold weather, we're going to be planting cool weather crops. So I'm going to start with Florida first. Even though I'm in Texas, I do have a lot of experience growing in Florida because I grew in Florida for a couple years. So you want to avoid planting. Now, let me also add this. For next year, if you are crop rotation, like you really want to make sure that you rotate your crops, these are some things to avoid. If you had okra here this year in this bed, I'm making notes myself, you want to avoid planting things like squash, tomatoes, and peppers because they are also susceptible to root knot nematodes. So in this bed next year, I'm not going to plant those crops. For those of you in Florida, if you're pulling up your okra summertime, it's a great crop for Florida gardeners. You want to plant things like melon, cucumber, basil, radish, cowpeas, and even peas. Now, keep in mind, there's a difference between peas like English peas and cowpeas. Cowpeas are heat loving, English peas are cool loving. So those are varieties that would be less susceptible to root knot nematodes for those of you in Florida that have a much larger, a longer growing season, and you can plant more of the longer crops that take longer to grow. Now, for those of us that are in cooler weather, we have some options, some fantastic options that are not necessarily susceptible to root knot nematodes. Now, I don't have issues with root knot nematodes in this bed, so I'm not necessarily worried about that. I can pretty much plant any fall crop I want to in this garden, but I also want to make sure that I add some beneficial crops that if you did encounter root knot nematodes, that you have some options. And those include broccoli. Someone did comment that on my Facebook post. Beets, a fantastic root crop. Brussels sprouts. Great thing about beets is it's a double duty crop. You can plant, you can eat the greens even if you don't like the roots. Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and that is Chinese cabbage and the heading cabbage. Now, somebody asked me what's the difference between Chinese cabbage and regular cabbage. And usually they're non-heading. So pak choi, baby pak choi, Michelihi cabbage, those are three super easy to grow. And because they're not a heading cabbage, they usually take a lot less time to produce. So dwarf pak choi is 33 days, regular pak choi is 55 days, and the Michelihi is about the same as well. So you don't have to wait those 80, 90 days, 100 days for the big heads of cabbage. So something you want to do if you have a shorter growing season, maybe those are some options for you. Collards. I love collards. I sent out an email about collards. I talked to collards. Hey, Nancy, thanks for joining us. Hey, Catherine. Esther's daughter says, I'm going to grow all of those. Awesome. English peas. I mentioned cowpeas for Florida gardeners. Hey, David at Patriots Rabbitry, thanks for joining us. Garlic is a fantastic option as well. Onions and mustard greens. So here's what I'm going to do with this bed. This bed here, this is a brand new bed this year. This is my newer garden. I think we cleared the space in March. We built the beds in April. We filled them in May and planted them right away. So some of them, I'll be totally honest, some of them I got a little lazy and I didn't mix my compost. I got a massive load of compost and I was itching to get started and I didn't mix it properly with my coconut coir and my perlite, and some of my beds are rock hard. I've got one over there that I'm going to actually do a video on this weekend. It'll probably go live Saturday or Sunday. And this one in particular, it's not as bad, but it's not very good. If I want to plant seeds, especially root crops, I really need to work on my fluffiness of my soil. I already have some onions growing in here, so those are going to stay. But once I pull up the okra here, I'm going to take the top 6 inches of soil, maybe not 6 inches, maybe 4 inches. I'm going to take the top 4 inches of soil. I'm going to put it in a wheelbarrow or a bucket or a barrel, and I'm going to add coconut coir and I'm going to add perlite to it. I'm going to sprinkle some mountain flower root boost in it, and I'm going to mix it up really well so it's a little softer soil, less compacted, and then I'm going to put it back in the bed. Now, I try not to disturb. Sorry, we had dogs a couple weeks ago, so it kind of freaks me out being out here. Not really, but you know, when I'm live and I'm not focused on the rest of what's going on around me. So I want to make sure that I've got nice fluffy soil, especially if I want to grow root crops. So the one over here that's compacted, that's going to be garlic. The one in front of me here, that's also going to be garlic. So as soon as I pull up all that debris or plants that are growing, once they're done, I'll go ahead and work on it. Now, if I wanted to do it long term, if I didn't want to pull up the soil and I wanted to make the soil softer or fluffier, I would put things like daikon radish in there, because daikon radish is fantastic for breaking up dense, heavy soil. But I want to use it like right now. So it's going to take me more work. Instead of letting nature do the work, I'm going to have to put in the sweat equity here, and I'm going to have to make sure that I make it beneficial for rooting crops. So I definitely will have a video for that just in case. Hey, thank you so much. When I do all of this stuff, I will do a video for you and I'll post it to my YouTube. I'm not going to be live because I'm going to be dirty and sweaty and stinky, even though thank goodness you can't smell me from there. So that's what I'm going to be doing this weekend. I have my work cut out for me because we're supposed to get rain, and I've got about 15 beds here. Not 15 beds that I'm going to work on, but I've got 15 beds in here to, at one point in time, I'm going to have to work on and figure out what I'm going to do. Plus the new beds I'm going to put in. So if you have any questions, comment below. If you have any questions and you're not watching this live, you can always send me an email. My email is marysheirloomseeds.com, and I do answer your questions. So we've got some awesomeness coming up pretty soon. This bed in particular will probably be beets and leafy greens. So leafy greens can be susceptible to root knot nematode, but they have in general minor damage compared to some of the other crops, like the big crops like tomatoes and peppers and squash. So I will definitely have, that was a dragonfly that went through. So I will have more than just one crop in here. I'm thinking beets and greens because this is a semi-shady area. You can see it's 12 after 5, and it's semi-shady. It's full sun first thing in the morning. If you don't know, this is the garden area that I went live in. That was my partial shade, full sun garden. This is it. But when I went live, it was a blank space. It was a clean slate ready for me to get started on all this awesomeness. So going forward, we have some awesome updates for you. We have a seed giveaway going live on September 1st. We have a seed sale going live on September 1st. It's my birthday month in September, so I always like to have a massive seed giveaway. So we're going to have 10 winners this month. If you're watching the replay and it's later on, this is September 2024. So it may or may not be relevant to you, but I always like to have lots of information available to you. I bought a wood chipper to crush my yard waste. Can I use the wood chips as part of the garden soil? Yes and no. You really need wood chips to break down a lot before you use them in the garden. You can use them as mulch, but if you put them in your soil, you will have two things happen, possibly. I never say for sure because the garden is always it might be this or it might be that. So if you put wood chips in your soil fresh, number one, it can, as it breaks down, it can pull nitrogen away from your plants because it's decomposing. And if you put thicker wood chips in your soil, it can inhibit your roots from being able to really settle into your soil. So anytime I add things like wood chips, it's always going to be composted. So you can use it as a mulch, or you can compost it. So what I would do is make a big compost pile, and as it breaks down, a lot of people that make large amounts of compost, they will do food scraps and then they will do wood chips and mix it up, and they allow that to decompose until you get a really good finer compost. The compost I have here, this most recent order I purchased of compost was much denser than I'm used to. It was not the same quality that I got last time. So I will say that. That's my little disclaimer. It was the compost I purchased last year was much better than this year. Live and learn. What can I tell you? So yes, if you want to use wood chips in your garden, you're in Kansas, so you might be looking at leaving a pile of wood chips, if you can, in an unused area of your garden or your yard and allowing them to break down. And I would be willing to bet that by next spring, when you're ready, if you push that pile away, you will see some nice fine pieces underneath that you can actually use to mix into your garden soil. So Egyptian walking onions are here. Everybody has been waiting for the final announcement of Egyptian walking onions. If you did not pre-order, you can send me an email. My email is mary@marysheirloomseeds.com, and you can get on our very short wait list. I will, as soon as our pre-orders are packaged up and on the road, I will figure out how much extra we have, and I will put them on our website so that you can purchase them. I will send out an email, but I will tell you right now that the extras that we have will probably be sold out in 24 hours. So you don't want to miss our email announcement, and you definitely don't want to miss it. If you send me an email, you're going to get updated before I even post it on my website. So just throwing that out there. Again, my email's mary@marysheirloomseeds.com. And if you don't sign up for my emails, then you may not see the seed sale this month, the seed giveaway this month. There's going to be 10 winners. I'm super excited about that. Seed garlic. If you placed a pre-order for seed garlic, I didn't forget about you. If you look on my website, you will see the announcement says that seed garlic doesn't ship out till October 5th, I believe it is. Some of the seed garlic will be available earlier, just like our Egyptian walking onions. They are fully cured now and ready to go, so we can send them out to you. The seed garlic needs a little more time to cure, so stay tuned for the updates on that. I have 2 super awesome events that I will be at coming very soon. The first is October 5th. It's a Saturday, and I will be in Kaufman, Texas. I will have specifics available soon. And then November 8th through the 10th, I will be in Athens. There is an amazing farm. It's a huge property, and they have a 3-day, I wouldn't say it's a festival, but 3 days full of workshops. So I'm teaching a workshop on Friday. I'm teaching a workshop on Saturday, and I think, I'm not 100% sure, I'm part of a panel on Sunday. So lots of awesome information. And if you're local, if you're close by, if you know where Kaufman and Athens are, if you stop by the events and you stop by my table, I've got lots of free seeds that I will be sharing with you as well. It's no different than if you place an order at Mary's Heirloom Seeds. I always have extra seeds for you. I always include an extra seed pack with your order. Hey, Christian, thanks for joining us. So there's lots of awesomeness. I really, really hope that you join me. Even if you can't join me in Athens for those workshops, just like my seed starting workshops I did in multiple locations earlier this year, I will video them. What I did was I went to the event, I did my live, and then I came back to my workshop and I filmed them and posted it to my YouTube channel. So I'm going to try and do the same thing. We're going to talk about seed saving. We're going to talk about seed starting. We're going to be talking about different growing tips, and then, varieties specifically that grow fantastic in Texas. And if you live in a warmer climate, it is relevant to you. Say you live in Florida, say you live in California, say you live in Arizona, these places that get very hot, we've got some great information for you as well. So with that being said, tonight's topic was crop rotation, what to plant after okra. So we're talking about crop rotation in the video, not just for fall, but also for next year, planning ahead to make sure that you don't have, if you had issues with your okra, you want to rotate your crops and plant something different that isn't necessarily susceptible. And then also we're talking about fall crops. You really want to plant lots of fall crops. I've had people say, well, I've never planted a fall garden before. And some of my favorite stuff is fall. Honestly, your spring stuff can be your fall stuff as well. Lettuce, radishes, turnips, rutabagas, beets. I love all the root crops for the most part. Spinach, mustard greens, peas, super awesome and just delicious. So I really hope that you join me for my next live chat. I really hope that you sign up for my email list. In the description section of this video, you'll find a link to my comprehensive planting guide. You'll find a link for my email sign up. So if you're not sure if you've already signed up, you can always use the link and enter your email. If you're already signed up, you won't get signed up again. But if you aren't signed up, you'll be signed up. And then also tonight, I threw in the links for my cups because it's hot. And these are hot cold. They are stainless steel tumblers, and I absolutely love them. We have 2 different sizes and multiple different graphics on them. We've got Mostly Feral Gardeners. We've got Mary's Heirloom Seeds. We've got The Garden is Calling and I Must Go. My mom drinks her coffee out of the 20-ounce stainless steel one because it's hot cold, and she said it keeps her coffee almost hot all day. I don't know about you, but I drink my coffee first thing in the morning. I don't drink it all day. But especially when it's hot, it holds your ice for a long time as well. Maybe not as much as those like $100 tumblers, but who wants to spend $100 on a tumbler? All right, everybody. I am Mary from Mary's Heirloom Seeds signing off. If you've got any questions, please send an email to mary@marysheirloomseeds.com and I will answer. Thank you so much for joining me and happy planting.